Hi, I'm Nate Flax, and for the first time ever, I'm alone today on Talking Lion. For those new to the show, I'm typically joined by my co-host Noah Longworth McGuire, who is also the other half of our band Sleeping Lion. And usually we're here talking to our musical friends about life and music and everything in between. While visiting his family in Rome, Noah actually got into a pretty bad accident, and he's currently in Italy in the hospital with a multiple fractured dislocated shoulder. He is about to go in for surgery. And while we have an entire season worth of interviews lined up, we thought that today would actually be a good opportunity to update you guys on everything from what Sleeping Lion has been up to what our past guests have been up to. Just a way of kind of taking a moment, taking this time to kind of just get on the same page and give you guys an idea of what our music community has been working on by and large. It's a unique chat episode and it's just going to be an update. So if you want to listen to any of previous episodes, now is definitely the time to do so, just to get acquainted with some of our past guests. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy this show and it gives us a chance for you and I to catch up. And I hope that Noah has a speedy recovery, comes back to LA, and we can continue to chat with our friends. So without further ado, this is Talking Lion. So I guess the best place to start is what's been going on with Sleeping Lion. We get asked this a lot, especially because we do a lot of stuff with our friends and we are doing a lot of like co-writing and production stuff. Likewise, Noah and I both work in film. Like I do sound design and he's an editor. So we've, been busy in various disciplines for like a while. And on the public facing side of things, we haven't really put out music in a while. The last EP that we put out was Different Plans, which is really like a pandemic collection of songs that we had given up on that we really wished could exist. And in the pandemic, we had time to like put it together and actually put it out the way that we wanted to. But Different Plans was still just older songs. Like those were songs that we had written without really an album or EP in mind. They are sort of a collection of songs. Likewise, over the years, we've done songs exclusively for Facebook Sound Collection, which are usually available on like Instagram Music and all that stuff. And you've probably heard those songs. Some of you have even DM'd us about those songs and where you can find them. A lot of them live just in Facebook, Instagram land, but we have started putting them out in collections. And that's what you've heard the stories is a collection of those songs. But again, we didn't necessarily write those with an album in mind. Those are just collections. Over the last 2 years, we have been working on an album. And that album, EP, record, whatever you want to call it, it's called Most Improved. I think we really began seriously working on it in like late 2019, just to give you an idea of how long it's taken. And it's evolved over time. And it's evolved for a number of reasons, partially because in the pandemic, Noah and I really wanted to explore what made Sleeping Lion Sleeping Lion. We've been making music together since 2015. So we've never actually had an opportunity to figure out what we sound like as adults separately. And in the pandemic, I started a solo project called Captain Irving, and Noah started a solo project called Renaissance Boy. And in working on those two projects, we got to really understand what our voices were like separately, so that when we put them together for Most Improved, we really could hear where I started and stopped and Noah started and stopped and how those parts made a better whole. Likewise, we wanted this record to be something that we were focused on and proud of. Oftentimes when we made records in the past, by the time the records were out, we were already working on, the next 3 projects, and we had trouble getting excited about our current release. And what we really, really wanted was to make something that we were proud of, make something that we could focus on, that we weren't looking ahead, something that we said, if we quit music tomorrow, is this something that we would be proud of? And even 2 years later, we both feel, yes, like that's the case. Part of what makes this record special in that regards is that we want to have as much collaboration on it as possible. The last song is a cappella piece that was arranged by Spencer Camacho of Under Arrest. Some of you guys might recognize that as the a cappella group that did a cover of our song, You Made Me. This a cappella song not only combines the themes of the entire record, but also is going to have 100 people on it. And that's going to be all the people that we've collaborated with, some of the guests that we've had on the show here. Just, it's going to be a collection, almost like a time capsule of what we did here and what we were doing here. But of course, any major undertaking like that takes time. Similarly, we've been doing the DIY independent thing for the last 7 years. And while it has been rewarding and it has been really, really nice being able to steer our own ship, I think that our ambitions and I don't know how the expression goes, like our reach has stretched our grasp or whatever. Somebody DM me and tell me what that actual expression is. But basically, we are looking for like a label partner or a distributor partner that can make sure that this gets to as many ears as possible so that we can build this community together and that these songs can reach the audience that we think that it can because of how much we believe in this record. But that also takes time. And it means that we, have to bring the record to some level of completion, but also maybe, save some things for what we could do with a budget and figure out timing and all that stuff. So it's a lot of moving parts, but the long and short is that we're working on this record that we really, really care about with people that we love. And that's something that we're excited about, but also something that we want to be sure to take the time with and not rush and do it right so that we can continue to be proud of it and that you guys can really like it. So Sleeping Lion is still very much in existence. Not only that, I mean, Noah and I also have these solo projects that are records unto themselves, which after Most Improved comes out, you'll probably also see those records. So we have so much music coming soon. It's just a matter of figuring out the next best steps. And we want to be as transparent as possible about what those are, what those next steps are, and what that means, because that's what the show is about. The show is about being honest about our process. Maybe you'll hear some of these songs when we leak them on TikTok, but, maybe we won't do the whole TikTok leak thing. Who knows? We have a whole mess of plans. We have new managers even, and we're excited to just see what the next couple months and maybe even year brings. But we promise this record is coming and it's going to be the best thing we've done. And it's going to be something that we're proud of, something that we hope you'll connect with, and something that is 100% honest and authentic in us. Lastly, with Sleeping Lion, we're actually playing a live show pretty soon as well. If you're in Los Angeles, we are playing at the Resident on September 23rd. And if you're in Boston, we are opening for Fangs at the Middle East on October 20th. So if you're in Los Angeles or Boston, we would love to see you. We are going to be playing all of our new songs as well as a lot of stuff from different plans. And we think it's going to be a really, really special night and a nice way of kind of closing out the year and being able to play live again safely, And with that, I'm going to play a little bit of transition music right now. So I figured for the rest of the show, it might be kind of cool to just give updates on some of the past guests that we've had on the podcast. One of the things I love about the podcast is that it is this time capsule of all of these artists in the middle of their journeys. But we've been doing this now for a couple of years, and this is actually going to be the 80th episode. So there's a lot of moving parts in the music industry and things happen really fast. Lives change really fast. And I think it'd be kind of cool just to catch up on where all of these artists are, especially if you are a fan of them or want to revisit some episodes and find the best way to support them or hear how they've been since they've been on the episode. So with that in mind, I want to start with our first podcast guest that we had on this show, which is Zealand. We were so grateful that Zealand wanted to be our first guest. We've known her for a really, really long time. We've done remixes with her, and we wrote A Weekend in Maine together. And she's just been such a good friend to us over the years and was so supportive of this idea of starting a podcast. In fact, when I asked if she wanted to be on the podcast, the way I phrased it was, would you mind coming in to do something that could be a tremendous waste of time? Like we could record the whole thing and then it might get erased. And she said, yes, under one condition, that if that does happen, that it does get erased, we can record it again. And I just thought that was so sweet because she really made us feel like this was something important, something that was worth doing. And it has been really rewarding doing this podcast. But currently, Zealand is actually on tour. She's doing a kind of house show, backyard tour with another incredible artist named Tavia. And the tour is called the Party at Your Place Tour. They're actually playing in LA today. If you're listening to this on Sunday, September 12th, they're playing tonight. So go to their Instagram page if you want to see them tonight play live. They're also playing with Ashlyn Malia, who has been on the podcast and who's one of our favorite people. It's going to be an incredible show and something that you don't want to miss. If you want to buy a ticket or make a donation, you can Venmo them at Party at Your Place Tour. Moving on to Fangs, our second podcast guest. Fangs is actually going on tour as well, and we are opening for him in Boston on October 20th at the Middle East. So if you want to see him or us perform, please get your tickets as soon as possible. We have a feeling it might wind up selling out. So we would love to see you at that show. And we're excited to play with Fangs again. We've written 2 songs with him, Good Now and Can't Wait to Tell You, and it'll be so fun to hear Good Now live again, because it's always just so fun when everybody goes off on that.
Maybe things are good now.
Next up is Transviolet. Since we recorded the episode with Transviolet, we actually put out a song together, Tendencies, and a remix of Money Money together. So it's just been continuous collaboration since the podcast episode. They are also about to go on tour, the Drugs in California tour, and are probably playing in a city near you. So if you want to see Transviolet live, please check out their Instagram and all their tour dates. On September 24th, they're playing the Knitting Factory in Brooklyn with our other friend and collaborator and podcast guest, Miette Hope. So if you are in Brooklyn, that is the show to see on September 24th.
I got these tendencies.
Which brings us to our fourth guest, our friend Jost. I can't believe it's been actual years since he's been in LA. We miss hanging out with him. But he just put out his third EP called Nothing's Everything. It came out literally a week ago, so please go check that out and tell him that we say hi, because we miss Jost a whole lot. We haven't talked to Cub Sport since their podcast episode, but they've been encouraging their fans in Australia to get vaccinated and have been working with Vax the Nation AU to do so. So we're very grateful to them for that and hope that they're doing really well. We haven't seen Vespertine in a while either, but he just put out a song called Give Me a Break last week, and it's awesome. So definitely check out that song. Likewise, from what I've seen, he's been tattooing people lately, and they're awesome. Like, they're really great designs. So if you follow him on Instagram, you'll see his tattoo work as well, and it's really, really cool. Vespertine has a show in Cincinnati, Ohio, at Legends on September 19th. So if you want to see him live, that's where you can find him. Next up is Flula Borg. Oh my God, this guy has had a year, and we love him so much. Since the podcast episode, we have done a couple songs with him. We did Duck Cluck and Sean Connery. We also worked on his audiobook called Wanderlust USA, which you can find on Audible or anywhere where you find your audiobooks. But this year he was in a little small movie called The Suicide Squad. He played Javelin and was hilarious. Harley Quinn flirted with him in the movie. I mean, he was so good and so funny. And he actually put out some music with our friends Ivan and Peter, inspired by Suicide Squad. So he's got a song out right now with Reggie Watts called Javelin, in parentheses, Move Your Body. And he just put out a song with Steve Agee, who we love. He's awesome. Shout out Steve Agee, called Amanda Waller. So these are all songs inspired by the Suicide Squad movie. Congratulations on an awesome year, Flula. We're really, really proud of you.
I'm Sean Connery.
Episode 8 was Friend, FRND, or Andrew Goldstein. And he's also been extremely busy. He's been doing Twitch streams for his production, which have been really great and informative. In it, he's been breaking down songs that he's worked on. Like last month, he did Hot Girl Bummer by Black Bear. But he's been working on some awesome stuff. He's been working on Black Bear's new stuff. He's been working on Laney's new stuff, Maroon 5. I mean, if you go to his Instagram and you follow his personal, which is Andrew Goldstein, you'll just see he's constantly working in the studio, and it's awesome. It's just really cool to see all of these songs that he brings his distinct style to. So shout out, Andrew. Hope you've been well, and good luck with everything you've been working on. Episode 9 was our friend Mothica, and she's also had a wild year. In the pandemic, she went viral on TikTok with her song Vices, and she put out her record Blue Hour, which absolutely blew us away. She then put out a follow-up EP called Forever 15, and it's also just an amazing, amazing record with Kaylee Morg on it as well. And it's just been so awesome to see people connect with Mothica's music in such a strong way, and shows how powerful TikTok has been in connecting with an audience. Be sure to listen to all of Mothika's music, and I believe you can see her perform on October 1st at the Wiltern. We haven't talked to Happy sometimes since the podcast episode, but we have talked to Lizzie Land. We're actually currently working on a song with Lizzie Land that we can't wait to show you. Likewise, she just featured on Ember's song, Where You Are, and it's a phenomenal song, so definitely check it out. And keep an eye out for what we wind up making with Lizzie.
I'm losing my head.
Episode 12 was Smile, and most recently they worked on a song with our friend Emmeline called Flowers and Sex that went extremely viral on TikTok and just completely blew up. And it's a wild song and a really, really great song. And we're proud of everybody who's involved with it. I first met Emmeline like my first week in LA, and she's always been just so full of creativity and ambition. And it's so exciting to see a song like this pop off. I believe we're going to have her on the podcast at some point this year as well. Unfortunately, we haven't talked to Bay Ledges or Ripe since our tapings, but be sure to check out what they're up to and keep listening to their music. I believe Bay Ledges just put out a song called Changing in August, and I think Ripe is about to play a music festival in Atlanta. That brings us to episode 15, Johan Lennox. This guy has been busy. I follow his Discord, and there's just always something going on. He's been working on his own music, like he put out a song called All in My Head in July, but he also is just one of the best like arrangers that is in the industry. Most recently, he did the strings on Every Summertime by Nicki, which is on the Shang-Chi record. So he's doing Marvel shit. I'm just really, really proud of him, and I hope somewhere he's drinking tomorrow. Episode 16, Leisha and Sean. I think that's of all of our plans that we had in 2020, that's something that breaks my heart a little bit, is that we were going to go to Ireland and hang out with Leisha and Sean and write and do cool Ireland things. But of course, we couldn't travel during the pandemic. So we missed them a whole lot, and we hope that we can hang out with them soon. Episode 17 was Moons, who we haven't talked to in a while, but she just put out a song called Hold On with Closey, and it's great, so please check that out. She also has a Splice sample pack if you guys are on Splice and need great sounds. Episode 18, Kean Palmer and Nico Pop. That was a crazy episode, and they put out their whole record that we talked about on that. So that's worth a whole listen. And while unfortunately we haven't chatted with them since that episode, I believe they're both still writing a ton, so keep an ear out. I also saw Keon was on TikTok doing crazy like vocal stuff because he's got a crazy voice. Evangelia, episode 19, really, really came into her own in her artist project this year. She brought in those Greek elements, and with Fotia and Pame Pame, they just are just incredible dance songs that also have such a great pop sensibility and combine her Greek roots as well. She just put out a song called Diving with Kelvin Jones, and I heard them play Diving like in the before times, so I'm just so happy that that song is out in the world. Episode 20 is Juge. Unfortunately, we haven't talked to her since the podcast taping, but she has also continued to make great music and put out videos on TikTok and Reels. Same could be said for our friend Jackie Foster, who we haven't seen since the before times, but who we hope is doing very well. Episode 22, 8090, put out a song called Forever in February, but I believe they're working more on the production side. I haven't talked to them in a while, but if you're hearing this, guys, we hope you're doing well, and we owe you a phone call. Episode 23, Ariana and the Rose, just put out a song in July called Everybody, and it's an awesome song that you can just jam to and dance to. Likewise, she's going on tour with Tours, so be sure to check out those dates if you want to see her play live in your area. Episode 24 was Loot. And Loot has just been doing some amazing stuff since that podcast episode. Most recently, you can catch them in the Charlie D'Amelio show. They are actually working with Dixie D'Amelio in the episode, and it's just cool to see Jackson and Emma working in the studio and doing what they do best, which is just writing a great song. Last year, they put out an EP that I absolutely loved called the Hard Eyes EP. It had songs like This Is How You Feel and All the Fucking Time. My favorite song on it, though, was Sex With My Ex, because it has Travis Barker on it and Home Alone, which is like low-key one of my favorite artists, who also put out a record last year. Jackson has also been working with an up-and-coming artist that I really, really love called Julia Wolf. She's so unique and the writing is great, and she's just such a cool artist. She's currently one of my favorites.
Pausing the podcast to shout out our sponsor, New Wave.
No, I've been drinking coffee my entire life. And the thing is that we're not getting any younger.
That's true.
And we're not getting any less anxious.
Oh, man, that's true too.
I'll say I have loved coffee my whole life, but lately, it hasn't really been agreeing with me.
How so?
Unfortunately, when I drink coffee now, I just start feeling very agitated, very anxious. I've been looking around for alternatives that don't make my heart just beat out of my chest while I'm in the middle of working. And that's how we stumbled upon New Wave. New Wave's Flow State Coffee is an organic ground coffee meant to lower anxiety, improve brain function, and support creativity. With L-theanine and raw cacao, Flow State Coffee is meant to feel like a cup of hot chocolate or tea while giving the energy of coffee.
And now, through Talking Lion, you can try a couple cups of your own.
If you go to their website, newwave.co, that's N-O-O wave.co, you can use the code Brewing Lion for 10% off your first order. We hope you get a creative boost and find your flow state.
Now, back to the show.
Which brings us to season 2, which we started off with Sad Alex. Sad Alex also had an incredible year. So Sad Alex did a song last fall called I'm Glad That You Found Someone with Nash. And they did a remix verse contest on TikTok that our friend Charlie Curtis Beard won. So then they put out a remix with the song with Charlie, and that was awesome. So it was just so cool to see all of our friends collaborating. And then Sad Alex just went viral again for her song IBTC, or the Itty Bitty Titty Committee, which is both a hilarious song and also incredibly well written. And she just put out a song with Mike called One That Got Away. Episode 26, Matthew Chaim. We've gotten a chance to catch up intermittently. Recently, he's been really, really involved in the crypto space and the NFT space, especially with how it deals with music. And he's been very generous in his time teaching me things about that world and that space. Likewise, he's in Toronto now, engaged to the person who he had been broken up with last time he was on the podcast. So he's had an incredible and crazy story, but we wish him all the best. Episode 27 is Chaz Cardigan, and now he's an Angelino. He lives in Los Angeles, and he's living his best life. Episode 28, Axel Mansour. Axel had a crazy year. Axel started a whole Clubhouse community called Lullaby Club. If you've heard of Lullaby Club, it's because it's just blossomed into this incredible community of artists and creatives and storytellers and poets. I've had the opportunity to read some poetry on Lullaby Club and be serenaded by its guests, but it speaks to Axel and his ability to genuinely create just such an amazing community that is full of love and support. If you haven't heard of Lullaby Club, please check it out. It's a wonderful place to hear just immense talent and help get some sleep too. And then episode 29 was Salem Elise. I love this episode. If you get the chance to go back and listen to our episode with Salem Elise, this episode is wild to listen back to. This was really a before episode. In that episode, she talks about 757, which is the record that Noah worked on. She talks about Splinter, which was the song that we did together and that came out on Ultra last year. But she also talks about this little song called Mad at Disney. And she talks about it in a way that is so full of question marks. She talks about it not knowing, because who could possibly ever know these things, that the song was going to be massive. And I'm talking massive on TikTok. That episode came out before Mad at Disney came out. And since then, Mad at Disney has gotten 200 million streams on Spotify. We are so proud of Salem and so grateful to have this moment where we get to just look at the future like it's a big question mark. We'll always be rooting for her. And episode 30 was David Archuleta. This was really a cool episode because we got a chance to talk to somebody who we grew up knowing. We unfortunately haven't kept in touch with him, but he recently came out as gay, and we're so proud of his journey and so grateful for his choice to be open with the world, thus inspiring others with bravery to be their most true and authentic selves. So thank you, David, and hope you've been well. Episode 31 is our good friend Miette Hope. We've hung out a ton since our last episode. Whenever she's in LA, we see her. Whenever we're in New York, we see her. Most recently, she worked on a song with Desi called Chaos Mode. And that song blew up on TikTok and has gotten over 1 million streams. And it's so good. So check out Chaos Mode. And currently, Miette is producing other people as well. She just produced Catherine Gallagher, and she's working on my partner's project. And she performed some of the stuff that she's working on for her own project that she self-produced at her show at Rockwood. And it's just incredible work. So keep an eye out, because between her and her project with Ariza called The Natural Synthetic, it's just so much good music on the way. Likewise, she's opening for Transviolet at the Knitting Factory, as I mentioned earlier.
But I know that you've been looking for balance.
Episode 32, Lizzie McAlpine. What a year. What a career. I mean, she is just stratospheric. I mean, she is just making music that is so incredible. And if you follow her on Instagram, she's been all over the world with people like Dottie and Jacob Collier, and just creating such an amazing community around her. Like I said, we haven't had a chance to talk since the podcast episode, but we wish her the best, and we are absolutely listening to everything she puts out because she's amazing. Episode 33 was Steven, who unfortunately we also lost touch with, but I do hope that we get a chance to play Overwatch sometime in the near future if you're listening to this, Steven. Episode 34, Ella Jane. Ella Jane has entered the music industry chat, people. Ella Jane has been putting out back to back to back great songs. When we first talked to her, she had just put out The City, which now has 4 million streams. But since then, she's put out August is a Fever, which we actually did some gang vocals on. She put out Thief and Nothing Else I Could Do and Bored and Blind and The Sellout. And all of the songs have just been popping off. She is such an incredible artist. Just every song is gorgeous. And we've just been so proud of her journey. Episode 35, Dylan Dunlap. Dylan has been putting together a series called Serotonin Sundays, which we actually had the opportunity to be on. And it's an incredible combination of mental health awareness and music. And it's really, really nice and just really speaks to Dylan as a person. He recently put out a song called Talk to You, and I believe he's playing some shows around. So check out his Instagram and maybe he'll be playing in your area. And then, of course, episode 36, Kira Kazran. Kira I see like 3 times a week. We're still very much a pod, and her friendship has meant the world to us. We have really just watched each other grow as people and artists, and we've had each other's back throughout the pandemic and through life and through all of the transitions that we've been through. She's playing in San Diego on September 19th, like a bunch of new songs. So if you're in the area, please check out that show. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. And Kira, if you're listening, thank you so much for being our friend throughout this entire crazy year, almost 2 years. You've changed my life.
Baby, that first
Episode 37, Fiji Blue. These boys have been busy. In August, they put out a song called Only When I Look Into Your Eyes, which is a really, really gorgeous song. And I believe they're playing Toronto in October. So if you're in Canada, check out Fiji Blue. Shout out to Val and Trevor. You guys are crushing it. Episode 38 was Sophia Grapari, who put out a song together called Lonely in LA. Please check out that song. I believe Sophia is in Europe right now, but she is just one of our favorite songwriters. So please keep an ear out for her music.
But I'm sick of being lonely in LA.
Episode 39, Vancouver Sleep Clinic. We haven't talked to Tim since that episode, but knowing him, he's definitely hard at work. And he put out a record in March called From a Distant Dream, so be sure to give that a listen. Episode 40 was Ariza. Ariza has been busy. He works with everybody, and it's just so impressive. He's done stuff with Abigail Barlow. He's done stuff with Miette. He even co-produced one of our songs on our record Most Improved called Out of It, which hopefully you'll hear soon. Ariza is super talented and so prolific, it's inspiring.
Baby, this didn't hit me like I thought it did. Sure, I fell in love, but I fell out of it. I don't wanna be the one who's lost in it. Somehow I fell in love, but now I'm out of it.
Episode 41, R. Lamar. I know he's been live streaming his gaming, and he's writing, and he's playing shows. He's just so talented and so awesome. So please follow him on Instagram and just check out his stuff. Episode 42, Molly Moore. Molly's the best. And Molly just played Bottle Rock Festival with Nombe, so I'm just so proud of her. And her mom's my chiropractor, so I've just been able to sort of vicariously catch up with her. Shout out to Molly. You are crushing it, and also my back has never felt better. Episode 43 and episode 44, Miranda Glory and Frank Cadillac of Neon Dreams. Unfortunately, I haven't talked to either of them since the podcast taping, but Miranda just put out a song called Die Happy, and it's really great. So check out that song. Our penultimate episode of season 2 was Amelia Ali. We love Amelia so much, and we are so happy that she just moved to Los Angeles. She is incredible. She just put out an EP called Girls Like You, which features Love the Ocean and Beautiful, which Noah worked on. And she's just one of the sweetest, kindest people we know, and we just love her music so much. She's just an incredible writer. So if you haven't checked out her music yet, please check out her new EP and follow her, because she's just the best.
Thought you said you loved the ocean.
And then our finale of season 2, and where I think I'm going to end this episode, was Rosie. Rosie has also had an amazing year, and we got a chance to actually hang out with her in New York at Miette's show last time we were in New York. So It was really, really good to like meet her in person after we did that podcast episode. But she's just been putting out some really, really great songs. She just put out a song called Sad, 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 which is fantastic. And she, I believe, is about to put out a song called Social Stamina. So please pre-save that song. Or listen to it if it's currently out. Rosie has been paving the way with her distinct style and has been doing things on her terms. And it's just so inspiring and refreshing to hear a voice like hers and songs like hers that are honest and real and raw like that. So shout out to Rosie. If you don't know her music, check it out. She's also on TikTok and is awesome on TikTok. So follow her there too.
Pausing the podcast to remind you that we have a Patreon that you can subscribe to if you want to support the show.
If you're enjoying this episode, but you're thinking that you've got a burning question for an artist, or you just want to talk with us, or maybe you just want to mug with our faces, our Patreon's the way to go.
So go to patreon.com/talkinglion to subscribe.
Now back to the show. And that concludes season 2. I'm not going to do a whole deep dive into season 3 because we kind of just did that. And also because I think I've chewed your ear off long enough. I know it was a lot of people, but each person is a unique journey that we have been so lucky to have at one point crossed paths with, but they're all special in their own right. And they're all deserving of an audience and of love and support. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much for connecting on that message of the show. And I hope that we've introduced you to some of your new favorite artists. We hope to see you at their shows or in their Instagram comments or even in their liner notes if you guys wind up connecting and collaborating. It's such an incredible community of people, and I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to be a part of it through Talking Lion and through Sleeping Lion. So thank you so much for listening. I know it was a whole lot, but hopefully Noah makes a very speedy recovery and we're back to normal very, very soon. In the meantime, I just showed you 46 new artists, and that's not even counting this season, so get listening. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you for listening to this episode of Talking Lion.
We would like to thank New Wave, The Truffleist, and Isotope for their support of Talking Lion.
If you'd like to show your support, ask our guests your questions, talk to us on Discord, and get a shout out at the end of each episode, subscribe to our Patreon over at patreon.com/talkinglion.
Thank you for listening, and see you next time.